I say good evening. Turn that down a bit. I hear it echoing weirdly. So oh, this is bizarre. This is bizarre. That was bizarre. I was still hearing. Oh, I know exactly what it was. I'm hearing. I have this window open like an idiot, like a novice, without muting my. This is the first time I've ever done this. I did not mute the tab. So I was hearing an 8-second, 12-second echo. Good evening, everybody. How are you all doing this sort of, it really is, it's transitioning, right, to that time when everything is just horrid. And I don't know, honestly, I don't know how we're going to get through it. How are we going to get through this winter? How's that going to happen? Summer was hard enough. And, if you prefer, first of all, if you prefer winter to summer, there's something wrong with you. Something really wrong with you. Because winter is horrible. And I don't like heat. But I find air conditioning to be a much more effective bulwark against heat than I find heating to be against cold. Because when you crank that air conditioning on a hot day, it just feels good. But you crank the heater on a cold day, and it dries out your nasal passages, and everything just feels, the floor is still cold, the walls are still cold, the doorknob is still cold. I had a horrifying experience shortly after moving to Baltimore, up until which point I had never lived anywhere that was further north than North Carolina. They have winter in North Carolina, I guess. It was east, north, it was Raleigh. So, it wasn't, I guess it's kind of winter, but it's not like, north of DC winter. So I remember I was in a house and it had an overhang. It had like an awning, like a porch overhang. And then these 4 brick steps after you came out of the door. And I remember it had rained and it was freezing. And I remember thinking to myself, there's going to be ice out there. So, Scott, as soon as you get out from under that awning, or the porch, you got to be really careful for ice. Little did I know that it didn't really matter, that the overhang didn't make any difference. My first step out the door, which I was still well covered by overhang, I stepped on ice, just pure ice. Did like a comic book kind of flip. Landed on my back on the brick steps and kind of like a ragdoll, like those crappy ragdoll physics you see in games from 15 years ago where they were just starting to implement ragdoll physics. Kind of bounced down the stairs and was like then on the sort of icy snow-covered ground. And I had a cup of coffee with me too. Of course, a cup of coffee flying, the mug shattered. But that wasn't the scariest part. The scary thing, and this is, to this day, I think about this and it scares the hell out of me, is I was in so much pain, but on top of that, I couldn't move. Literally, I fell. I was lying on the grass, maybe like my head was like partly on a step, and I couldn't move. I could not move my arms, my hands, my feet. I couldn't move anything. I could move my head. And I was in excruciating pain. And my wife at the time, I remember I was like yelling out for her because she was still in the house. She's a medical professional. Came out and I was in tears. This is terrible. So, I mean, I was in tears. I was like, I'm paralyzed. Like I genuinely was like, I'm never going to move again. I am paralyzed. I couldn't move. And she said, wait about 30 seconds before you panic about it. And sure enough, like maybe, this was a long time ago now, so I couldn't really tell you, but less than a minute, I was able to move again. But I didn't know that was a thing up until then, that you could have an impact that just kind of paralyzes you for a minute, right? Had I known that, I might not have panicked so horribly, but I was like really, that was a dark minute. And the weirdest thing is, or the other weird thing about that is, I was in more pain than I can remember in my life. And then after I could get up a little bit, and I kind of hobbled over to a chair and sat down and was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to go to the hospital. I'm probably going to be laid up for months. This is horrible. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, oh, nothing hurts anymore. I'm okay. And I was getting up and I went to work. Like the reason I'd walked out of that door was to go to work. So I went through this crazy sort of sequence of events in my mind where normal day, going to work, step outside, slip on the ice, slam my back on these brick steps, cannot move my hands or feet, literally could not make a fist, could not move my arms at all or my feet at all, am in intense pain, am convinced that I am paralyzed for life, that I severed something in my spine, was yelling. My now ex-wife came out and was like trying to calm me down a little bit. So went from that to then all of a sudden I could move a little bit, right? And I was like, thank God. I was still in so much pain that I could barely think straight. I was like, thank God I can move. Who knows what sort of physical therapy this is going to take for me to recover. And then like 5 minutes later, I was like, well, guess I'm going to go into work. It was a crazy roller coaster of emotions. And yeah, I don't know if it was shock. I don't know what it was. I think what I was told was that I did suffer an impact to my spine, to my spinal column, and the blow itself did actually paralyze me. But it was like nothing was severed. It was more like when you get punched in the head or something and you're sort of semi-conscious for a while. I still don't know. I'll have to go back and look, see what the actual medical term is for what that was. Scary as fuck is what it was. That's about all I can say. Here we go. Of course, PG knows. Yeah. Compression shock. Yeah. So freaking scary. So scary. Anyway, I hated winter before that. So you can imagine how much. I gotta open this before it gets too warm to drink, because I put it. brought it out like 15 minutes before starting. So it's already starting to get warm. Yeah, thank you, PG, for that. I think that sounds familiar. But just something to keep in mind, right? If that ever happens to you, don't immediately, and maybe Nicholas might know something about this too. Don't immediately assume that if you can't move the moment after suffering a back injury, that means you're not going to be able to move at all. And that, 10 minutes later, you're going to be like, well, I'm off to work. And then telling people at work this story and getting looks like, yeah, okay, whatever, That's why you're late, I guess, to the meeting. You didn't have to make it that crazy of a story because, you could have just said you had trouble getting your car out of the ice. Lexi, I'm so glad you asked this because I enjoy discussing my time in Miami, which is where I was born and where I grew up and where I spent the first quarter century of my life. Here's the thing about Miami. It's not as hot as you think. It is not as hot as you think. It's not as south as you think. It's not as backwards as you think. It's not as hot as you think. It's not as humid as you think. Now, if you want to experience hell, go to Orlando or, go inland about 20 miles. But you stay right on the coast there and you're constantly getting this kind of, lovely wind blowing in storms, but also making it not feel like you're inside a terrarium, which, Orlando is basically like you're inside a terrarium. The air is not moving. It's stagnant. It's oppressive. It's thick. And it feels like this invisible blanket that's the height of the ionosphere. So Miami is, yeah, and like a lot of times I'll look, if you look, during summer, you compare temperatures of like Texas or Louisiana. I think, Alexi, you are from Missouri or Louisiana, right? One of those swampy states. I'm sure the temperature is generally much higher there than in Miami. Of course, it never gets cold in Miami. That's true, right? But yeah, so Miami's horrible for a whole lot of reasons, and it is hot, right? Obviously I'm not saying it's not hot. It's just not as hot as like people imagine. If you're going by like longitude and latitude and you're using that as your sole determining factor of how hot an area is, proximity to the equator, what have you, not a good way to do it because that whole kind of Gulf Stream gives you a lot of motion, and it was also what makes you susceptible to hurricanes. Yeah, so no more. All right, we've covered the Miami content for the evening. Let me real quick look at the comments. Q, it's good to see you, Q. PG, of course, and Lexi, already spoken with both of you. Becca, I rushed thinking this was at 7. No, it's 7:30. It's always been 7:30. And for those of you who don't know, Ardra ASMR streams. She's streaming every day from 7 till I don't know when, it varies depending on how she's feeling. But she streams on her side channel. So I don't know if for those of you who were watching this show thing when Ardra was on it, if you want to see what she's doing now, you have to go to her sub channel, which is Exodis, and she's streaming every day, and doing some cool stuff. That starts at 7, so I don't know if that was the source of the misunderstanding there or not. Oh yeah, Becca, did you? Oh, your house flooded. Sucks. Not to make every story in the world here about me, but I'm going to make this story about me too. So the house I live in now, I moved into a year and a half ago, something like that. Prior to living into this house, I lived in a house 3 blocks away, maybe 4 blocks away. And I don't have good credit. I'm just putting that out there in case any of you all were going to hit me up to co-sign a loan. I don't have good credit, so I can't co-sign your loan. My credit's terrible. And the house that I was living in, I've explained this before, this whole neighborhood, which is Falls Church, which is a suburb of just outside of DC. They basically have 2 kinds of houses. They have the houses that have been here for 40 or 50 years. 40 or 50 years. And then they have the McMansions that are vinyl siding. And basically, eventually every one of the houses, like the one I'm in now, will be replaced with a McMansion. So the house that I was in prior to this house was being redone as a McMansion. So I had to move out. And this always scares me. I didn't get a lot of forewarning, which I was a little PO'd about, because essentially, like when I move into a place, first of all, I don't like apartments or townhouses. I don't like to be connected to other people in that way. So if I can avoid it, I do. But so what I was doing was, what I end up having to do, because my credit is, go to these realtors or these people that are renting out houses and telling them, look, my credit's horrible. I won't bore you with the details. Just say it has to do with a mother-in-law who co-signed a mortgage, and leave it at that. But, there's risk mitigation going on with this, which means basically when I move into a place, I have to pay first month, last month, and a month or 2 of security. Sometimes I have to come up with 4 months worth of rent in order for them to feel comfortable renting to me, because my credit score is low. So I was frantically looking for a place in the area. I needed a place with space so I could make ASMR videos. And I found the house I'm in now, which has a basement. It was a basement that had just been redone. This is perfect. I remember coming to see it, and I was like, this is great. I hope that I can convince this person. And I totally, I only got this house because I am a white male who worked in tech, right? Because the guy who owned the house also was a white male, roughly my age category, and used to work in tech. So this was totally I took advantage of my privilege in order to secure this house. But the problem was he wanted it. He had a bunch of people looking at it, and I know this is a super exciting story, but it's almost over. He had a bunch of people looking at it, and so I basically had to rent it for 2 months prior to moving into it. So for 2 months I had the house I was in and this house at the same time. Now, the irresponsible, living on the edge rebel that I am, I thought to myself, well, I don't really want to pay like electricity for that full 2 months. So I'm going to fudge it a little bit. And what I'll do is I'm going to assume that they're probably not going to turn off the electricity like right when on the date that they're supposed to. And I'll let it go 1 month and then I'll pick it up like the second month. I don't know if you can see where this is going, but I was out of town. There was a torrential rainstorm here, the worst rainstorm. If you were to look it up, I was told it was the most rain that had fallen in this area in the past decade. It's like 12 inches of rain or something like that. It was something insane. And this house that I'm in now had no electricity. Ergo, no sump pumps. Ergo, I was awakened by an email or a series of texts and emails from my landlord with pictures of the just renovated basement, now in 2 feet of water. The whole thing. I was destroyed. Like I literally had the electricity being turned on less than a week after this storm happened. Like it was this window of, when they say the stars align, well, in this case the crossed stars aligned to try and ruin my life. Fortunately, the landlord was a reasonable man. He basically said, well, look, here's what it's going to cost to redo the basement. You've already given me like 4 months, like 3 months worth of security deposit, right? Which almost covers the cost of redoing the basement. Technically, you are responsible for it, which I was, right? But he basically said, if you split the costs with me, then we can just, and you can do this, he basically said, pay me every month until we've each paid for half the amount of fixing the basement. So basically, like it cost me, to move into this house cost me like 6 months rent to move in, all told. It was a nightmare. Sorry to make, and occasionally the basement here does also smell. Sometimes, and I it's not always tied to when it's raining. So I haven't really been able to pin it down, but sometimes the smell of the sewagey smell, there's like a sewagey smell or a mold, some smell that sometimes comes from the basement. And I can't seem to figure out how or why. Anyway, that's that story. Here I was like, what am I going to talk about tonight? I could talk about that stuff for a long time. I still have pictures of it. Man, Leah is here. Leah, I'm sorry, I'm droning on and on about stuff. So just so you all know, I'm going to have a chat with Leah in a few moments here. And I'm not going to, I won't, helicopter. It's on my side. I know it. I won't talk her up yet. I'll talk her up before we get going. Hi, Matt. Matt, you, I think, are new. I don't recognize you. Welcome. And if you're here and I'm just failing to recognize you, I apologize. Oh, Q, yeah. Current was I really liked playing the part that Leah wrote. Um, I think she wrote it for me. I don't think she wrote it for me, but it was good. It was really good, and she wrote it so quickly. We'll get to that. Um, are you referring to this music? If you're referring to that music, Rebecca, I made that music. Michael, yes, I did. And I'm gonna look at Subnautica. Forest I know about. I'm not a big fan of survival games. Like that's not my thing. It's one of the. It's actually part of what turned me off of Red Dead Redemption 2 was the sort of the fact that your health went. Oh, I know there was a reason. The fact that your health went down if you did nothing. Yes, winter, darkness. I agree. Let's just fucking, get a nice like radiators, that kind of heater, not blown air heaters. The kind of radiating heaters are far less they wreak far less havoc on my respiratory system. Oh, well, I'm glad I could help bring some dread into your life, Q. Let's see, I'm gonna have to skip forward a little. Yeah. Yes, I definitely have humidifiers all over the place. And yes, this was exactly like what the fall was. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't see it, but I would imagine that that's pretty much what it was. All right, let me catch up here because obviously I'm way behind. Hello, Jonathan. Noct Hexen, good to see you. I like Nick's summation of the show thus far. And then, of course, Lexi sent me off on the Miami. Is there? I don't recall that. I don't know if you're being funny or not. I agree. Oh, well, this is true, right? Got jiggy with it, and he and Martin Lawrence, bad boys, did up. And yeah, Becca, Maryland summers are really oppressive, really difficult. I mean, they can all those places can be hot, but Key West I always loved. I mean, Key West was, yeah, it gets hot. It's not unbearably hot. All right. Big fans of the Gulf Stream. Yep. Warp Raven, I do not recognize you. So hello. See, but for me, like layers don't cut it because the air you breathe is still cold. The metal fixtures in your house are still cold. The border walls are still cold. Becca. Well, I do have to fill space. That could be a new thing on the bingo card if I bring up that I live in a house. I mean, it's an old house. Has one bathroom. And and we generally don't. I mean, obviously, yeah, like in Miami, you have limestone. There's no basements there. Um, Most of the older homes here don't have basements either. This one did. Just going down here, trying to catch up with the chat. Well, I did. Like, I understand that is like, that's a first world problem. But it takes up a large amount of my life, not just ASMR, but, video production in general. I rolled a natural 20. Oh, hello, Lady Nerevar. It is good to see you. Why do you bother? Like, why does anyone bother? Why is anyone still here? Let me play my sad music. Oh man, I'm sorry, Becca. I did this. I mean, I didn't do this. I mean, I might have done this. Yes, I have an air filter with an ionizer. I have humidifiers, dehumidifiers. Got all those darn things. Last time you were here, there were twice as many people on screen. Oh, you mean I was not doing this alone? Yes. Well. Oh, hi, Lisa. It's good to see you. All right, let me turn that music back down. I think we're almost caught up here. And I'm playing with. Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, I do remember this. A glimpse of Summerland. We're all making fun of me here. Good. Check. Making fun. I'm gonna make my own bingo card. Everybody making fun of me. Got it. I'm almost at the end here. Yeah, I miss her too. The Jaunt, are you talking about the Stephen King story? The short Stephen King story about the guy who basically goes insane because he's like traveling through time, but in his brain, time is moving infinitely slow, so he lives like 1,000 lifetimes in the amount of time that it takes for. Hello, Matt Schrader. Okay, and that's it. Here we are. We are caught up. Subnautica, Michael. I got it. I'm evaluating it. So let me just sort of give a quick rundown real quick here. So we got this camera going, right? Got the in-ear monitors going. You can see them pretty well here. I went ahead and re-hooked up the Canon, which, bear with me, yes, it gives horrible color. right? It's not that it gives horrible color. It's just that I can't make it match with the black magic. I would have to do all kinds of things in order to get that to happen. But the reason that I reattached the Canon was so that I could do this, because look who's back. I got Pazuzu back. Been missing him. Been feeling like, maybe his absence had been causing some problems. I rewatched for the, oh God, I guess for the second time in the past 6 months, Legion, Exorcist 3. And if you have not seen Exorcist 3, helicopter. If you have not seen Exorcist 3, you should see it. What else do I have with me? I have this thing which I've just fallen in love with. I'm so grateful to the viewer who love that sound. I know all you can hear is the helicopter right now. Then it also gives me the ability to do this. Wow. Don't get me nicotine. I did just put out a video yesterday. It was kind of on the fly. Didn't think it was necessarily going to happen. So if you check it out on the main channel, you can see it. I also have my ultra soft blending brush, which is good for We're going to get to Leah here in a minute. And of course, my patented, what I wanted this to be was that whenever I went to stand by, it would be like, no flipping, no flipping. As a throwback Johnny Carson Tonight Show joke. Because as you can see, obviously this is back in the day, when remote controls used tuning forks, you can see them inside there. And I used to occasionally change the channel on my TV when playing with money. Money. I got him. Kind of matches that really well. So yeah, this winter is I'm at a loss, right? Like I feel like I have done everything that I could do to sort of everything I could do that I could think of to expand to not be like just overcome with loneliness and depression. And this helps a lot. Like doing this helps a lot. Talking to you all helps a lot. But it has yet to be coupled with the grim grayness that is winter, where I can't, take a walk to the park anymore. As boring as that's getting, going to the same park over and over again. What else do I have my skull blossom. off the skull blossom tonight. It's not really good for ASMR. It's just good for looking at. But I do like looking at it. I like how you can kind of arrange it. And you can bend. I'm afraid to bend it, but you can actually bend it. You're supposed to be able to bend it to make different shapes and stuff. But I just know that I have a feeling that if I do it, I'm going to break the thing. It's got this really cheap, like what a cheap plastic base for a thing that was not cheap. And, you know, the rest of the parts of it are pretty decent quality, I think. And it just reminds me of, like, this is the device in Escape from New York that was put in Snake Plissken's neck that was set to explode if he did not return with the president from Manhattan Island in, was it 48 hours or 72 hours, or whatever they gave him. This is what would be happening to his skull, still frame, a millisecond after the device was triggered by Lee Marvin, a wonderful, wonderful, villainous character actor. Sadly, no longer with us. Whoops. And then I also wanted to read a little bit tonight. But before we do that, Legion, the TV show. No, not Legion, the TV show. Isn't it? I love that noise. Sir Ribbington. Yeah, I like that. Do I accept scripts for videos? I would say that I probably don't solicit material, because the fear on my end is that I'm going to already have something in mind, and somebody will send me something that I already kind of have in mind, and then, but I mean, actually, I'm going to say yes to this. If, like, somebody has a script for a video that they want done in an ASMR fashion, and they aren't super particular about having final edit, then yes, I would certainly read anything like that. Hi, Sherry. I don't think I've seen you before. If I have, I apologize. No, Death Note, it's not actually a puzzle. It's just, I am jealous. I am jealous of you, Michael. Well, right, there was John Carpenter had that. John Carpenter had his time. He had his decade where he was churning out greatness, in my opinion. Right? Prince of Darkness, even Mouth of Madness, but Prince of Darkness, man, that tachyon sequence of "This is a message from the year 1999" that kept zooming in on the figure in the doorway. The Thing, of course. Escape from New York, of course. Body Bags, of course. You could include Halloween in that, but I think Halloween's sort of in a different class. I'm going to send Leah the link right now. So while I'm sending Leah the link, wait, let me just be sure I've got it right before I can't multitask that well. So, oops, don't knock over the Coke, Scott. That's... All right, Leah, I just sent you a link. So, who is Leah Evans? So for those of you who have caught the shot-for-shot remakes that she does, or the plays that she's written and has been gracious enough to give me a couple of parts in, she's an improv comedian. She is a playwright. She is a screenwriter. She is a very funny person. She ran the armory. She ran the armory at a place called the Tank, which I wanted to ask, like, why so aggressive with the names there? Like, the Tank and the Armory. It's very, very military. I don't know. Maybe could be the first question is justify those names. But she's done stuff like she'll write a play and she'll set challenges like write a play in 13 hours, right? And prior to COVID, and I don't want to be saying too many things that are incorrect because I don't know 100% if what I'm saying is true, but I know that she ran an improv comedy troupe based out of New York City, right? Brooklyn, New York. Oh, really? Okay. Well, check your email so we can do this not via chatting or not via texting. But I like my personal take on this is, right, I think we're lucky to be able to have Leah in our midst right now, because a few years from now, I think, she's not going to have time for us lowly non SNL or UCB or whatever largely respected, lauded group, or maybe she writes her own HBO comedy show or something. She has, from what I can tell, like a huge sense of drive. She's very funny. She can write. And like one of the most important things, which doesn't seem that, I guess, important compared to some of the other stuff, but it just seems like she has the ability to bring people together and to align them around what a vision, right? And if it hadn't been for COVID, I would have hoped that I would have been able to have seen something that she'd put together at the Armory by now. And I still hope in the future that will happen. But yeah, let's get the actual Leah in here instead of me talking her up. Let me double check. I did send something. I did send it to her. I'll send it to another. This is the sound people make. They're killing time. I do think I need to eventually have this go stereo, right? Well, see, Sherry, you probably know her much better than I do. But she does seem to be like the rallying, like the sort of the redoubt, the flag, the rallying point for some very talented and very funny people. And, combine that with the drive. And I just, I think obviously there's just like a very good chance that she will be very successful and won't give any of us the time of day a couple of years from now. So let's enjoy it while we can. I did not forget my Coke, Bobby. Would never do that. Although it is probably now. I mean, you just can't hear. Oh, it's still got a little. It's got a little of it. So while Leah is looking for the link, I do have a couple other things I can talk about to kill time. My ex-wife is moving, and she uncovered some things that I thought were lost. Now, if you've seen my Instagram, you've already seen one of these things, but a picture from 22 years ago of me when I was in a band, and this was in Miami, so it was really hot, but we were dressed like it wasn't hot because we were like this particular band, we were like a folk band, and it had to look like, moody and cold. And this is actually in front of the door of a Spanish monastery that was moved. I think it's actually like Fort Lauderdale or North Miami, something like that. But I'm like 24 or 25 here. And you can just kind of see like all the collagen and sort of structure that my face has lost, and like my hair. And I realize, you post stuff like that, and it's often like to get like people saying, no, you don't look, you still are okay, but you can see the beginnings of this thing right at that point. You can see it there. Leah is now in the green room, but I got to finish this thought since I started it, and then we'll bring her on. So there's that one, and then here, even earlier, look at that, Jesus. That was when my hair was, this is when I was growing out my hair, because this was when I was still in high school. Eventually my hair was long enough that I could tuck it into my belt. And you can see I always had like a little spare tire, kind of, even when I was thin. Like thin, but I got that little spare tire going on. The picture that you saw before, like I think I'm 17 here, in a hotel. Why'd you shrink on me? I believe this is like a hotel after junior prom or something like that. But yeah, my hair was getting there, but it wasn't there yet. Anyway, oh, wait a minute. Leah. Okay. Leah is now in the guest room, in the green room. I'd like to bring her out. And if you have questions for her, or I never sold weed. I bought weed. I had a lot of friends who sold weed, but I was never the actual seller of the weed. So, director of the armory, the tank at the armory at the tank, uh, writer of many plays and shot-for-shot remakes, uh, and other very funny things that like are keeping people sane in this particular horrible kind of crappy ass time that we're all going through. Um, she makes me laugh. Like she makes everybody who meets her and interacts with her laugh. She's gonna make everybody laugh. Like all of you, she is so funny. Like everything she says is top tier, super. I'm not saying this to put pressure on her, but if she says something that's not funny, guys, I would, I would ins- don't insult her, but like just kind of, apply some pressure for her to be funny. Oh, hi, Maddie. So anyway, here she is, Leah Evans. Hello, Leah Evans. Can you hear me? I can't hear you at all. You are muted. As muted as the day you were born. Is this a bit? You're doing a bit, aren't you? This is a comedy bit. I can sense the meta. Oh, she's gone. She has to recall. So that was Leah. I hope you all enjoyed meeting her. She's a great person. Oh, wait, she's calling back. Okay, so I guess looks like now she's more like on a phone. Now you're on a phone. Guess what? Oh, wait, hold on. This is my fault. Do you want to call back on the computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to call back on the computer?
Yeah.
Okay, call back on the computer. Sorry about that. It's all my fault. I've only done 16 of these. Only done basically, 50 hours of this. So, cut me a little slack. Well, the technology was great. Like it was all perfect and worked wonderfully. I just dropped the flippin' ball. Also, there's like a limit. There's that limit to the interview time that I have. It doesn't seem to be going down because I've been using it a lot. And this is so sweet. All right, let's see if I can get it right this time.
Oh, yes. What is happening?
I can hear you.
Well, what a great bit. Am I lagging now? Is this?
Let's see. There's maybe a little bit of lag, but I think it's livable.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
how are you
Oh,
doing?
man. Good. I like how you built me up and then I immediately beefed it.
Well, but that was me. That was me that beefed it.
Well, it's also partially, I think, my computer. Like, there's a lag on my end, so I was a little confused. So I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah,
But
apology accepted. I see you're already decked out for the holiday.
yeah, this is my one sign that I hung up. That's it.
Oh, she's gone. This is going wonderfully well. Part of the fun of all this is like figuring out. Yes, I think there's been like some mutual beefing. Oh, I know this. I know this Matthew Schrader. I know who you are. It took me a minute, but I know you. So Matthew writes stuff with Leah and has been in a bunch of stuff as well. Let's see. Okay, she's calling back now. Let's see if we can if we can get see hand, and do I hear? Oh no, I don't hear. And okay, are we gonna charades it? Oh my gosh. I haven't had this problem. What's weird about this is like the people who have been calling in that I've generally been doing this with, like, are not are just like trying it for the first time, and it's been flawless. Leah has been putting together these YouTube live streams with, sometimes with casts of many people, and organizing that and getting that all to go off without a hitch. So this should be super easy. But let's see. Let's give her another moment. Is Mercury not in? I thought isn't Mercury pretty much always in retrograde? Isn't that just the? It would be, but it's so interpretive, right? Like it's so much. I guess. Oh shit! Sorry. So how y'all doing? She's gonna try her roommate's computer. Okay. This is her friend Matt. I still want an excuse to make chat do voiceovers. What does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. I'll tell you, I'm about to start jumping into reading Cask of Amontillado to kill the time. That'd be so fun, but I don't. Okay, I'm missing. I'm like getting parts of this and not other parts of it. No, I don't want to play a dating sim. No. Phone with a better connection. Yeah. There's some beefing. I'm at, so in order for a channel to be eligible for monetization, you have to have 4,000 watch hours. And I think right now, this channel is at like 3,000 watch hours, which is great. Not because all I care about is money, but it would be nice to be able to comp some of the spent money that I've been spending to get anything. Did it? Got it. Yeah, but see, Skillgram, infinite access to knowledge and entertainment, yet still somehow bored and lonely. Like that kind of makes it sound like infinite access to entertainment should be enough to make you not bored or lonely. Oh, I see what you're saying here. But which game is this? This would have to be for a dating sim? Is that what you're talking about? Ooh, we got somebody calling in. Gonna try this again. The thing is, I don't hear anything. Yeah. Oh wait, I do. I hear it. I hear you.
Okay. Hi.
Now I hear you.
Okay.
Hey, Leah, how are you doing?
Great.
But wait, it looks like you're on the same computer because you're in the same spot.
I switched. Well, one I deleted Snap Camera, which some of us use for filters. I think that's slowing my computer down. And then I ran to because I don't live in a house, and I ran into my roommate's
That was a
room and
swipe
asked
at
to
me.
borrow.
That was.
No, no, why? Not all of us are so lucky to live in a house. But
You live in
anyway,
New York.
uh,
Don't you live in Brooklyn?
no, I live in. I don't want to give a specific borough, but I live in Queens. Well, no, I just gave a specific borough, but I don't want to give like the borough within the borough. But I live in Queens.
So
But
you
I
live,
snagged my roommate's camera.
but you live in Manhattan. So
No.
wait, I thought
I
Queens
work in Manhattan.
isn't Queens northern Manhattan? Am I?
Um, you're partial. There's different boroughs. So there's Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island. Uh,
For some reason, I thought though,
um,
like the Bronx and Queens were. Oh no. Oh, this is not going well. I don't know what's going on here. There's a moment after Matthew said, "I have a good feeling about it." So, um, yeah, I don't know. Um, I can brush the mic some more, or we can talk about while this is being figured out. Well, I knew Brooklyn. Brooklyn was. Yeah, I guess I just thought Queens was actually part of Manhattan. That shows how much I know. Okay. Wait, we're trying again. Trying again. We're trying it again. Trying it again, but guess what? No volume. I at this point I'm pretty sure it's a bit that you're doing. Do you notice the oh, there's still purple in these bristles. Ooh. I don't want to accidentally see like a desktop or something that I'm not supposed to be seeing, but yes, this was no volume. No volume at all. But I'm not sure why this would be happening. It's very bizarre. Because I've never had this problem. And your phone doesn't cut it, huh? But you can hear me. Maybe I could ask you questions and you could write the. Yeah, because if you can Zoom, which you can, right? This should work. So I don't know what are you using Chrome? You are using Chrome. I wonder if I can try generating. I'm not sure what that gesture means. I'm wondering if I can try generating another link. Yeah, well, I think the issue, Michael, is that Leah is quite busy. So I think it would be difficult to reschedule. But let's see here. I mean, we could go straight through Zoom. The only thing is, like, all I know is Ecamm, which is what I'm using, and it's just all it does is like give me this link. And I don't know. I've had Oh, wait. I've had a few dozen people on. Um, but I can't show Zoom on Ecamm. Um, Ecamm and Zoom do not play nicely together. Um, I can try sending you another link. Um, oops, that's not. If I assign you here, yeah, I have no idea why this would not be working. Um, let me. Can we do something real quickly? Could I get somebody else to just anyone to call in? And I just want to isolate the problem if we could. Okay. Um, so if anybody right now who has access to a webcam and wants to basically just help us debug this thing, if you could send me a quick email to adeadsymbol@gmail.com, I will send you a link and we will speak briefly and see if the technical problems are basically where they're originating. Hey, it's Scottish Undertones. How are you doing? Somebody call me, or somebody email me. Or if you already had the link, yeah, I believe it's actually like you can just go to the link again and it'll work. Let's see. Anybody, just send an email to adeadsymbol@gmail.com that says hi, or yo, or how you doing, or what's up. I need somebody to send an email to the email address shown on the screen right now. Doesn't matter what it says. And then I will send you a link. Michael. Okay, Michael. I'm sending you a link now so we can zero in on this problem. So both Lady Nerevar and Michael both sent. I sent links to both of y'all. So you can just, the link that I sent you, if you just click it and we'll see if it works. Meanwhile, you're tired of having like a bulky, old, rotting cow skin. Michael is joining. Michael,
Hello?
hey, how are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, and I can hear you okay. Um, so what are you on your phone, or are you on a,
I'm on my phone. I don't have a webcam, unfortunately.
okay. So that's sort of like the simplest way probably to do it, but it does work. So, and let's see, Lady Nerevar.
Difficult to get a good angle, though.
Lady Nerevar,
Hello.
you can hear me, see me,
Yep.
everything?
Yep.
Can you hear and see Mike too?
Yep.
Hello,
Alex,
hello,
me?
test.
And
1,
Lady
2, 3.
Nerva, you're not on a phone. You're on.
Yeah, I'm on my PC. Yeah.
Okay. And do you know what are you using? Don't tell me you're not using Internet Explorer, right? You're using.
No, I'm using Firefox. When I opened the link and joined, it asked for permission for my webcam and my microphone, and I just said yes and remember the decision, and then it just selected those two on like the choose your cam and mic, and then yeah, that was it.
Okay, and it says Leah is restarting her laptop so that we can hopefully get this going. But how are you two doing while that's happening?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
not too bad.
stressing about school.
Stressing about school.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on with your headphones, Mike?
Hmm?
Like the red. Can I see the side of your headphones? Oh, I like that.
I'm not even using them because that's
I was
for
gonna say, like, you have earbuds on under your headphones.
Yeah.
So you're stressed about school, but you're gonna get to hold bones, or be
I'm
able to.
stressed about school because it's all online and it's a nightmare to deal with. And I'm a teaching assistant too on the side. So I have to do 5 courses and then I have to grade like 40 to 50 papers.
Just give them all C's.
Hey, I'm actually very concerned, and I went and I did a rant where I wrote to my old high school that I graduated from, where I trashed them and I demanded that they start teaching students how to write essays because I marked like 10 assignments that were short essays, and they were all students from my old high school who have no clue how to do citations properly. They just don't even teach them at all.
So you wrote your old high school to be like, why aren't you teaching your students how to properly cite
I
sources?
also, yeah, to also ask, why didn't you teach me? Why did I have to learn on my own? Like,
Did they say like, oh,
because
we
then
thought
they
that was
set
the right way to
themselves
do
up.
it?
They set themselves up for failure in university because in first year they'll be failing like every single essay. They'll
Yeah, I
fail
mean,
until they succeed, which is terrible for their average.
that does suck. And Lady Nervar, how are you doing? What's going on in your world lately?
Nothing too fancy, just work. There's some more auditions lately for voice acting stuff.
Oh, did you land anything?
Nothing yet. It's the one that I've applied for just now is for a Fallout New Vegas mod. So it's just for like a bunch of NPCs. So there's a chance I'll probably get in with a few others to voice a few little bits.
Was it what kind of was it the accent we're hearing now? Was there anything special?
Well, there was three different roles. There was a trader, a traveling doctor, and a raider. So the merchant, see if I can find the lines. See if I can get them up again.
A raider
Yeah,
with your voice would be interesting.
well,
How much do you change your voice? Like, do you go into like?
I can go quite different. So for the raider, I went for to read off one of the lines is, "Put down your weapon, and I'll cave your thick skull in for you. I'll make it quick."
That's great.
So yeah, hopefully I get something, but it's just like a little mod thing, so it's not like it's big paid work, but it's little steps.
Hey, you put it on your CV like you would for volunteer work, so
yeah. Though
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Thinking most of the where I work, since it's like a financial bit doing test stuff, I'm not sure. Yeah, I can do voice acting. Will get me like, hey, this is good management material.
yeah, but it can get you a voice acting gig
True,
later
very
on,
true.
maybe.
Yeah.
if you're doing mods for Fallout, are you like applying to do mods like Beyond Skyrim or stuff like that?
I did. Oh, what was it called? There was a Skyrim one I applied to, but it was very early on in, and the voices weren't too good. I did like one of the ones was for a dragon, and that one I had to go oh, what was one? The one of the lines I remember is like I need to like try and get it in like the right sort of.
You've been paying for this treachery, son.
That's
Like I have to go
awesome.
really low for that kind of thing.
Scott,
Like,
have you ever you worked on the Elder Scrolls Online. Have you ever played these like big expansive kind of mods for like Oblivion and
I mean,
Skyrim and that?
I played all the official mods, right? But I didn't, or the official expansions, right? But I didn't play any of the, uh, except for I think I
Oh,
played like a Skyrimization, or wait, no, I did a mod that was Morrowind but updated using the
Skywind?
Oblivion. It was using the Oblivion engine, I think, um,
Oh, okay.
but it was
Yeah.
Morrowind in the Oblivion engine. Um, but
Those, I think that same team just went on to just try to make Morrowind in the Skyrim engine.
a lot of those things, though, like, it just seems like they never get finished, right? They
No,
start and
by
then
the
they
time
either
they're
get,
nearly done, the next game is out.
yeah, or they get slapped with a cease and desist or something. And Bethesda
Yeah.
is pretty notorious for not letting anyone have any fun with
I
with.
uh I have a major problem with the Elder Scrolls in its like quest design and dialogue options. It doesn't feel like role play-esque. It feels so linear and very limited. If you play the Beyond Skyrim mods, the mods actually writing that dialogue are better writers than the original on Skyrim. If you
Well,
play like Beyond Skyrim Bruma, you immediately upon going into Bruma, where it lets you go south of the map and go into Cyrodiil and go to Bruma, you can talk to like what was it? It was a Thalmor agent that was chilling outside in Bruma, and you can like have a deep philosophical discussion with him about the Aldmeri Dominion, why they banned Talos worship and stuff like that. Like kinds of dialogue you never get to have in the real game.
well, you probably were able to have dialogue like that in Morrowind, um, but
Yeah,
not
I think
after that.
Daggerfall had the best dialogue
Yeah,
options, but granted the lack of 3D world kind of gives you more.
but there's a lot of like writing by committee, and a lot of like everything has to be sort of uh, all the edges have to be filed down, so you don't get some of that like sort of interesting idiosyncratic writing. Like it sounds like what you're talking about when you get like these more
Hmm.
altered things. You just have like 20 writers, or and they're all like meeting and they're all making sure that is my writing consistent with your writing, and well, we can't go too far out this way, or we can't, we can't make any sort of definitive statements about things. I don't want to talk too much about Elder Scrolls 'cause I want to see if I can still get um, if I can still get
You
Leah.
still get
Um,
hired there?
oh no, no, I don't really want to
Oh,
look there again. I want to see if I can still get Leah on.
mm,
I just wanted to kind of check to be sure that
okay.
this was still working. Um, but I see PG is calling, but PG, I'm trying to get Leah to join. So I have to deny that call because I'm not sure if, I don't know how many people it's letting me add. Um, so yeah, sorry about this. Sorry about this. I, I was watching just by coincidence today. There were, I guess, Oblivion, because there was so much dialogue, obviously, uh, in
Mhm.
Elder Scrolls games that, sometimes you might miss that, like, the actor did a take and then did another take, and then they're actually, what you hear when you talk to them is, "Hail." Wait, let me try that again. "Hail."
Yeah. The
yeah.
uh,
famous one in the temple in the Imperial City. I got that one too. There were
I'm
so many bugs and glitches and things that I had a lot of fun with my friends on Oblivion. Like I remember Dorian in the Talos Plaza district. You just go kill him and loot his gold. But before they patched it out, if you loot his gold, it never stops giving you his gold.
Ooh.
So I remember sitting with a friend of mine on PC, taking turns just spamming the mouse button, just clicking 240 gold, 240 gold, 240 gold until we had like 250,000 gold. Love that.
Huzzah. But like I've always been of the opinion that like there are sort of two schools of thought there. One is like play it safe so that crazy shit doesn't happen. But then you have to sort of make everything vanilla. And then the other side is just take chances and like, yeah, it's going to cause like some weird glitchy gameplay, but it's going to be more fun. And you know what, that thing that's a bug, people are going to like talk about that anyway. And it's not going to, necessarily adversely affect your experience with the game.
Yeah, like
First time I ever started up Fallout New Vegas, on launch day, you sit down at the bed and the doctor in front of you is assessing your health and if you're okay. And his whole head just started spinning, just spinning until it like his neck was like 5 feet long and his head was just coming out further and further and just spinning and spinning.
Lady Nerva, it looked like you had also run into that, or you knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
yeah.
A
I've seen
lot
that
of
one.
people experience that.
Oh,
I also
dear.
remember, I remember getting punked by, I think it was IGN when Skyrim was like coming out and like everyone was hyped for it. And oh yeah, the giants are friendly and you can actually go and talk to them. I was like, and I saw one and I was like, I gotta try this. I need to go and speak to them. So I ran up and was, oh, there's no dialogue option. Next thing you know, combat music starts and giant hammer comes down, bonk. And then I joined the Skyrim space program as I am launched 70,000 feet into the air, ragdolling through the sky. They patched it out, and enough people complained. They actually like, okay, yeah, that's kind of funny, and patched it back in.
So it looks like we got Leah back, I think now. So I hate to.
That's all good.
I appreciate you all calling in to just kind of stress test the system or kind of see where the issue is. But I do want to talk more about this stuff, but because I find this, I could talk about this all night. But thank you both for calling in and for hanging out. And we'll talk again soon.
Nice. Yeah.
All right,
Play
thanks.
Subnautica.
Yeah, I hear you. I got it. Thanks, Michael and Lady Nervar.
All right. Cheers.
Okay, so now we're going to try it again. Hello.
I took my roommate's computer.
I hear you and I see you.
I don't know what's happening.
It seems fine now. There's maybe like a little bit of lag, but apart from that, it seems perfectly fine.
Yeah, we're near the Wi-Fi router by the window, so I'm sure a combination of those things. And Phil was nice enough. Phil, who played Ray in Ghostbusters, was nice enough to let me use his laptop.
I saw real quick, in the green room when it popped on. I saw him, and then I saw him like go, and then like quick kind of duck away, and I saw you come in.
I told him actually that's what was going to happen. So I'm pretty stoked that worked out. Wow, what an adventure!
This has been fun.
Haven't we come out of this stronger, better, closer? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, all of those things for sure. Definitely. I think. Let me see if I can. All right, I want to try and. Can I? Oh wait, hold on. I'm gonna. See, can I add you here? Okay, there. That's better. Now it's more like I'm facing. Oh, I can get rid of this. So Leah.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Now very stressed. But,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry for
No,
my part in making you feel that way.
No. It's clearly one of my devices if Phil's works. Pretty on brand, so that's fine. How are you?
Great. I'm pretty good. I'm not looking forward to winter. It's going to be a nightmare. I'm gonna hate it, and I'm already hating it, and it's only like 55 degrees out, and I already hate it. So
Yeah.
imagine once it's freezing or snowing, and or I have PTSD from ice.
Yeah. I'm from upstate New York, so this is actually really warm for us right now. So
Yeah,
here in New
well,
York
actually,
City.
but yeah, it is unseasonably warm, like here too. It's still too cold for me, but it is warmer than it was like last year at this time, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, can you tell us a little bit about what you do, like what your, um, what, well, just tell us like a little bit about what you do. I kind of know, but like I kind of want to mischaracterize things, which I feel like I
Yeah.
have done. Um, but well, I'll let you go. You go.
No, I think you did great. I have a day job that I'm not going to talk about, but it's like a quote unquote what my parents would call a real job. And then I run this place called The Armory, which is a part of the Tank, which is a not-for-profit home for the arts in New York City. Their whole thing is removing the financial barrier for artists to put up whatever kind of show they want. I ended up doing a show there that went really well. We did actually Matt, who's been kind enough to help me in the chat, was our improv team, The Internet Disagrees, did a show with R.L. Stine, who wrote the Goosebumps books, and it went really well. And they asked me what else I wanted, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, how about an improv house team system that doesn't cost you money to play in New York and a lot of other places, it's a level-based system. There's schools. You go through all the levels, which makes sense. And then when you've completed the levels, you can audition to be on their house teams. I wanted a place where all of those different schools can get together to play together in a supportive atmosphere.
So
that's kind of
regardless of you didn't have to go through the echelons of I don't know whatever like trying to because I remember
yeah,
actually like playing in bands and I remember there were some places where it was like you actually had to pay in order to play and hopefully
yeah.
you would get your money back via the bar or whatever, but a lot of times you didn't. But you actually had to pay club owners in order for your band to play there. Um, so I don't know if it's like similar to
It's
that in any way.
it's kind of like that show wise, but then you also have to pay for these classes, which in New York, and rightly so, because rent is really expensive, can run you $300 to $500 maybe for each level. And a lot of these places have multiple levels and multiple classes. Um, and a thing you find a lot in comedy is with the financial barriers removed, you get a more diverse pool of talent is the hope. Um, because who's paying I'm not paying $500 per class, but that's me. um
Yeah, it's non-inclusive if you're putting up that kind of a barrier, right? And you're only going to get uh, certain people, and you might be excluding these. I mean, you're probably excluding these, really talented people, right? For um, what you said something about R.L. Stein was
yeah,
part of. I don't. Can you say a little more about that? Because I'm not sure what you mean.
do you know who that is?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I don't know, I can't see the chat because I'm only in one window right now, but Earl Stein writes these books called Goosebumps. He worked on Eureka's Castle, a bunch of other stuff. And I was obsessed with him as a kid. Like I dressed up as the killer hamster from one of the books. I just read everything. And this was back when Twitter, I guess Twitter is big now for different reasons, but
Oh yeah.
I was like workshopping jokes and I wrote him something and he responded. And as it turned out, he had a show in New York City and he asked me to come by, and it was at the People's Improv Theater.
But he had a
And
show. What do you mean? Like he was doing improv? What
well, no, he wants to, I'm sure, but he tells stories. He'll read excerpts from his next book. He writes like 5 books a year on a typewriter. He's always getting them out, but he likes to tell stories. And also, he started the story he always tells us. He started as Jovial Bob, and he released joke books. And then he was like, "Oh, Stephen King's making all this money. What if I do this for kids?" And it worked out. And then he kind of fell into that. And he just happens to be really,
Oh,
yeah.
I had no idea.
He's the nicest guy. But yeah, he just totally on a whim, like because he liked my joke, was like, "You're funny. Come say hi." And then we hit it off. And he's like, well, if you want to do a show, just tell me and I'll come by. So I guess he just likes being out and about.
So what show did he come by? Did he came and
We
watched you all
did,
do?
yeah, well, he came with his wife to a show at the Tank, actually. And it was just The Internet Disagrees, and we did a full hour based off of his stories and an interview with him. And my parents actually came up to see it, and that was really cool for them, especially for my dad, who's like, oh, it made sense to him. Like comedy to an improv to a lot of parents, or maybe a lot of just regular people, doesn't make sense. But my dad just like, he knew your name. He was telling us how nice you are and how smart you are. And that meant the world to my dad. So even though I didn't make a cent on that, I'm so happy that it happened, because it was really cool for me. And then to see my dad like understand kind of what that world is was
That's
really cool.
awesome. And
Yeah.
it's also a great story, right? Like to be able to.
Yes, yeah.
So the Tank is the naming, like we talked about that a little bit before. It's not named after a military tank. That's just
No.
coincidence.
I actually believe it's short for the think tank.
Gotcha.
And this was named years and years ago. And the reason the Armory is called what it is because I kind of fell into this. I pulled all the improvisers to come up with the name for it. And of course, most of those things are bits and jokes that you can't possibly use because no one will print what they said. So the Armory was like the one that kind of fell under that umbrella at that time. And this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But we're rebranding this year right now to something that's a little less military based. So it was funny that you mentioned that, because we are doing that.
And so it ended up being a group of people that sort of organically grew. I assume like people, there are some people who come and go, and then there are more people who are like the regulars who stick around, or do you still have like those kind of levels for any reason, like for any sort of, is it?
No, for 3 years, we didn't really offer any classes at all, because we were lucky enough that the Tank gave us a space for free to do what we want to do. Just, they make money off the bar, they make money off of ticket sales. So that kind of works out for them. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I answered your question. What was your question?
Yeah, that totally. I guess I was just curious if there was like, apart from like the sort of like feeling of progression, I guess, and knowing that, right, okay, well, I want to be sure that there are people in this particular production who have a certain level of experience that they're not going to dry up, on stage or whatever, right? So like,
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing, and I think this is kind of, I have a panel, an ensemble committee that decides the casting, so it's not just my voice in there. That's been since day one. But I always like to get, the cool thing that we can do is I really like seeing folks that in auditions, they might not have all the concepts. They might be someone who's never tried improv before. But, in warm-ups and exercises I'm watching, and if they're totally down to play and give 100%, I'm like, oh, let's see that person again. Or we'll give a couple people that we call it green. That means like brand new.
yeah,
Improv, I guess, or maybe other places. We'll give them a shot. But our whole thing is I don't say funny, because improv can be not funny and just be well acted, but you have to want it. You have to be supportive. You have to be kind is one of our major things, like that Conan O'Brien quote, which is, if you can't be cynical, if you're kind, amazing things will happen. That's kind of what I base my life and my practices on. Yeah, and those folks will get a shot, and sometimes it works. More often than not, it works. 9 times out of 10 it works. The other time it doesn't, and that's just kind of a part of it.
So pre-COVID, how often were you guys doing shows? A couple times a week?
All the time.
Like almost every night? Or are we talking that?
Yeah. What we were starting to do, because we have sketch house teams, we have improv house teams. Improv house teams are every Friday night. And then people would independently put up shows at the Tank whenever they had a free spot. So what the Tank does, they'll email me, oh, we have these spots open that we don't have plays or dance or anything else in. And it's just constantly moving. I'm always checking my inbox when I'm at my other job, which I probably shouldn't say.
But so then what obviously now, right, the Tank at some point closed, right, or shut
Well, they're
down.
virtual.
Oh, wait, so okay, so I guess I'm not understanding. I guess I'm not sure, like your fingers are in a lot of pies, right? So you do the shot for shot stuff.
Yes.
you do the stuff that you write, and that's all done on
Yeah.
your YouTube channel, right?
So the Armory is usually under the tank has 2 stages, and we usually put up shows there. But with the pandemic happening, I kind of dove into Zoom, and I was like, well, this gives us the capability that they can run all of their shows, and we can practice having a full-on every single day calendar. It's just good practice to see if we could feasibly do this long term when things open up. Do we want to do this? What works on certain days? And it also gives us a chance to meet improvisers, sketch comedians, everyone from around the world, some of them may move to New York after this. Who knows? And who knows how long this will go? But because usually during the year when things are open, we're at the mercy to what they have available.
Right.
So it's been a real interesting few months.
But I guess that's where I'm still unclear. So the stuff that you're doing and the stuff that the tank is doing, they're different, right? You're still doing shows with the tank that are, can people pay to see those? Are those like through a different, are those more like the shot for shot things where it is just like a Zoom call and there are a certain number of people that can come watch it, as opposed to the way that you've been doing the YouTube live streaming, which is a Zoom call that is piped into just like, YouTube live.
Yeah. So the Armory's been all Zoom because that's been all the capacity that I've had to learn how to do that sort of thing. But all of our shows have been free. We do have a link to donate to the tank because we very much want that to still be a thing when and if things open back up. How they're running things, it's a little different. It depends on the show that they have there. But they promote our show. They promote our shows. As I look at it, they have 2 physical spaces in their building. So it's kind of like they have 2 spaces now. They have our little underground Zoom space, and then they have whatever they're utilizing for their theater stuff. I don't know if this clears anything up.
Well, so the shot for shot stuff has nothing to do with the Armory.
It does, but we're actually moving away from the Armory in January. We're separating.
Okay. And that's not the name, that's not the brand change. That is, you're actually, okay.
Yeah.
And that's you or that's shot for shot or?
It's my show, Shot for Shot. So I produce that as well. So I would direct that as well. So I have the Armory, which is a couple hundred performers. And then I have Shot for Shot, which is now 30 people with occasional guests, which is where you would sit in and stuff.
So you have like this, you have like this whole other ecosystem or this whole other level of shows that are going on that I was not aware of. And even the ones I was aware of, I was like, oh my God, how is she able to do all of this stuff? So how are you able to do all this stuff?
People ask me that, and I never know how to answer it because it's just, I've always been like this. I guess I was my parents' first child. I'm adopted, so they waited a while. They had to back then and put a lot of work in to get their baby girl. So my mom she was one of those moms that threw everything on me. She wanted me in everything. So I was in like gymnastics, taekwondo, acting, everything at the same time. So I guess I just carried that to adulthood. So now I just do a bunch of stuff. It is a balance, and it's kind of something in the pandemic I'm learning to handle better. Because what was happening with running the Armory, I was kind of losing sight of, I haven't written anything in like 10 years. I just stopped writing. And in the pandemic, it freed me up a little bit when I was furloughed to kind of re-explore it and be like, oh, I might be okay at this. And, oh, I kind of like doing this. It makes people happy, or some people cry. So I've been told on Twitter. So I think when things open up, I'm trying to find a better balance where I am more mentally healthy for myself and doing things for myself as opposed to just everything for other people. Because it was very draining, and I was kind of burnt out by the time the pandemic happened.
Are you still currently and of course, if you can't answer this, I totally get it. But so are you still currently furloughed from your regular job, or do you still?
No. I'm lucky enough and unlucky enough because I have to go into the office that I've been back for about a month and a half.
Oh, you actually physically go into an office. Okay.
Yeah. I'm one of very few. My office has multiple floors. and sometimes I'm the only person on the floor, so it is what it is. I mean, I'm one of those people that I need to have a job. I'm just sure that's everybody, but yeah, it's one of those things. I'm very happy to have my job, but also it's a little scary too.
But when you are, is it the kind of job that when you leave, you can just shut it out? Like it's not, you don't have to take your work home with you?
Yeah, I mean, I take everything home with me because I'm a very anxious person and I question everything I do.
I hear
But
you.
yeah, I don't have to be on call or anything. Literally, almost everyone else at my job has to be, and I really don't, which is nice. Because my other job, where Matt and I actually, Matt in the chat, I'm just gonna call Matt in the chat, worked together. We were on call all the time, like all the time, and that was terrible.
Yeah, that Pavi is also saying you made her cry, and what do you have to say for yourself?
You know, I'm very sorry, but also your tears nourish me because it means I got some sort of a reaction. I hope it was a good cry. I hope it was a cry. It was an earned cry. It wasn't that this is terrible, because that's what I thought when I was writing it.
So this is what she's referring to is the play Current, which was put on, what was that? That was Sunday. That was this past Sunday? Yeah. And it was a small cast, like only 5 people, right?
Mhm.
Which I've participated in a couple of the plays that you've done, and like a couple, like the Ghostbusters one was, I don't know how many people were in that, but it seemed like 100.
Yeah.
But so like as far as being a little bit, it seemed like the stress level was a little lower, right, with Current. Although because Current was not a comedy, it also seemed like maybe the stress level maybe was a little higher also, because you wanted to be sure that, or I don't know. I mean, is it higher for you when you're writing comedy, or when you're writing something that maybe is funny but is meant to evoke other emotions as well, right?
Well, I'm always stressed, but I'm actually more comfortable writing drama. I like writing darker, sadder stuff with maybe dark humor. I think comedy, though, is way more stressful for me because it depends on the audience. But if it's like on this call, I know a bunch of my funny friends are going to be coming to watch this, and that puts a little more of the pressure on because I run this program, these couple of shows as well, that you have to be funny. That's the thing. Uh, but yeah, I like stuff like Current. I really, and Fire Escape and some of those other ones, I really enjoy writing. The most stressed I'll get is when I'm writing like a sequel to a pre-existing thing. That scares me. Like I'm gonna attempt. I don't know why I did this to myself. I'm gonna attempt Star Wars next year because we don't have enough of those, and I'm very stressed about that because the fan base, not everybody, can be very. I love Last Jedi. I'm putting it on the record. I loved it. But I had a very visceral reaction to Rise of Skywalker, so I get it. So I'm just bracing myself for that sort of thing,
Right.
And people like that with Shot for Shot too. When we did Big Lebowski with the all women leading cast, some people pre the show were a little not wanting us to succeed in a way, like a little judgmental, and then after it happened, they're like, "Oh, that was great." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah."
Of course it was great. That was your problem.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So what is if people want to, well, so I know this, right? But if people want to watch what you're doing, what do they do? Like, what are all the different ways they could do it?
My scripts are just going to be solely YouTube. Usually Sundays. I'll stream something at around 6. If all goes well, around 6.
So the stuff that you write that is not, this is not Armory stuff, right?
Yeah.
This is not shot for shot stuff. This is stuff that you've written that is original, or possibly original, but maybe some of it is based in fan, like if you're doing something for Star Wars or whatever, but that stuff will be on your YouTube channel.
Yes. Yeah. And that's something I just started, like, and I want to say, do people still say shout out? Is that a thing people still say?
Yeah.
A shout out to your community. They've been really nice. They've like come over when you're in them, and everyone's been really friendly and sweet and nice. It's refreshing.
Some of them are nice. Some of them live to make my life difficult.
Well, that sounds like my group of performers. So about the same.
Well, I love them both, all of them equally. And, I enjoy being, I enjoy being made fun of. It's great.
Can we do an ASMR roast of you? Can we have like 5 people that just roast you quietly?
That would be. I'm trying to think about like how that would play out, right? That would actually be hilarious.
Yeah.
So if people want to see the shot for shot stuff, now the shot for shot stuff is a totally different thing. That is, you take an existing movie, right, and you cast it sort of against type, or is there?
I just cast who I want.
Okay.
It's it's random, yeah, but usually it's against type, yes.
And then, but you follow the script pretty much exactly, the original script.
Well, no. So you did, which is great. We always need people that do follow the script. It's a drinking game on top of a script, and it's like half improvisers, half actors.
Oh,
So
I never got the double meaning of that.
Oh, well, it used to have a different name, much like the Armory did, and then we changed that because we didn't realize. So it used to be called Gender is Dead and So is Your Liver, and then we realized like that was not the most sensitive thing to the community. So I didn't even think about it. Someone else, like someone in the Armory named it. I was like, yeah, that works, whatever. So we changed it to Shot for Shot. But yeah, the double meaning. It's another. Are you processing?
I'm sorry. Gender is dead, and so is your liver. I realize that it is not maybe not sensitive, but it was. I found it funny. Sorry. I didn't know what were the rules for shot for shot? When do you take a shot? I was totally oblivious to this.
That's what they read at the beginning. Didn't you wonder why there was a drink ref there?
Man, I didn't.
That went over your head.
I was like paying attention. I was too nervous, I think.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice. There was literally someone saying drink every few lines.
Oh, I do recall that. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that was just okay. Right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much a teetotaler, so that was something that I probably just sort of blocked, so that I wouldn't revisit the 90s.
Well, that was also the first one that you did, so it's nice that you were nervous. I forget that people, because it's just, I've kind of known these folks for so long that I forget that, I know they're talented, but I forget how overwhelming it can be for someone new coming in, so that was refreshing.
Yeah, the one I was in was Back to the Future, and I played Marty's mom.
Yes, my wife.
Leah Thompson. I don't remember her name in the movie.
Lorraine,
of course. Yeah, right. Yeah, and that was a blast. I had a really, really good time. Once the initial once I got through the initial first few scenes, then I started to be able to relax and have fun. And as it gets closer and closer to the end, I'm able to relax more and more until I get to the point where now I'm finally comfortable and it's over.
Yeah. Well, you know how that came about, me asking you, right? Because it's kind of funny. Shrades, I'm gonna put him on blast. He's here. He gets ASMR. I don't, and since we work together, he puts on ASMR when he's working, right? And I was asking him for Rex because I don't get the tingles, but I'm like, I need something to listen to. I just need background something, always, constantly. And he mentioned a couple people. I think he also Ephemeral, I think he mentioned. And then I found you, and your Logan video had just went up, and I was like, "This is insane." First off, I love Logan, and we did a Logan shot for shot, and I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but this is great. I showed him, so he's a fan of you as well. And then I just, after shot for shot, and I was kind of tipsy, which I probably shouldn't say, but I'm going to say, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask him. Oh, that's right. I'm just going to ask him. And Matt's like, no, don't do it. I'm like, I'm going to do it. And then you said yes. And I was like, I don't know what to do now because he said yes. I could not believe that you said yes to that.
I do vaguely remember now after the show actually talking about this and talking about how Matt knew me and introduced you. So I do remember that. I just didn't remember it until I was prompted by you. But yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, I thought it was, I mean, I just think what you're doing is really cool, and the fact that you're able to sort of marshal forces the way that you are is really, really cool. And the fact that you're able to get stuff done, right? Like I can't tell you the number of things that I've started writing and then never finished, right? The number of half-finished things that I have. And actually ASMR is actually pretty good for that, because you can kind of take things that are half-finished and you don't really gotta finish them if you don't want to. You can just kind of put them out there with an ambiguous ending, or just kind of leave them hanging and saying, you just put part one there, and then
Yeah.
maybe a couple years later you'll revisit it. Maybe you won't, So I found that like that's been a great way to sort of that's been a great creative outlet for wanting to write. So I'm really glad that you've been able to, in like this particular climate, been able to channel that energy and be able to like come up with awesome stuff. Can I ask, what makes you want to write something in 13 hours or in a day, or like why those kind of deadlines?
I don't have the time to do anything else. So
Oh,
it's a combination of, if I give myself a time limit, I book the actors that I'm going to have. I have to finish this. I have no choice but to finish this.
yeah, that
Um,
was, sorry, I had to mention that because
Sure.
that's exactly one of the things I was talking about. Like where it's like, yeah, started writing it, never finished it. Sorry, everybody. um, the number, but I think if you go to like any ASMR channel and you go and you search for part one, right, on any ASMR channel, and you will find thousands of part ones that have no part twos. So whatever. But anyway, so it's for you, it's a function of, it's not so much well, I want to challenge myself to get something done in this time. It's more like, this is the time that I have. So if it's going to get done, it has to get done in this time.
yeah. Yeah. It makes
And
you finish.
how long did it take you to write Current again? Was it?
That was the first 6 nights of the pandemic, when I was still employed, but I was working from home. So 6 nights.
And did you have the idea for that already? Did you know what it was or
Um,
where it was going, or?
no, I had one of the characters' names that Chris Robin bit. Um, and then I knew I wanted to write something about a relationship with a father, and that was really it. So, I mean, I start everything by just writing that first night or that first hour is just writing down plot points, the big ones I want to hit. And I guess from my improv training, they just kind of come to me now.
Yeah.
And then the writing is just connecting all of those points or those lines. With sequels or franchises, I work with lines. Like there's some lines, there's a lot of lines in Ghostbusters that are from the original movie that I slightly edited. And if you know the movie, you'll be like, oh yeah, but what I use those for is I have to hit these lines and then I'm done. Like I knew I had to end on I love this town. That's my ending point. I didn't know the in between,
But so then you do plan out your stories then, right? You don't just kind of start writing and see where it goes. You actually have
It's
an
tough.
endpoint.
It depends. I start with an idea, like the vaguest idea. I'm like, I want to write about a non-sexual relationship. That's what I want to write about, and then I just go. It's a very basic thing. What I do create prior to writing is a playlist, like on Spotify. That just helps me.
Oh, really? Like
Yeah.
that's sort of the mood of what you want the piece. That's
So I have
awesome.
like a
That's
current
great idea.
playlist. It's all terrible, guys. It's all mainly a Walk to Remember music, if you guys remember that movie. I'm probably too old for this group.
Wasn't that like a Nicholas Sparks?
Yeah,
based on a
yeah.
Nicholas Sparks book. Yeah. I
It's not
forgive
part of it. The only reason I know about it is because my sisters and my mom loved it. So I'm like, I think, what is the bands that are in this? It's such a throwback, Scott. You would not believe. Music you would never listen to.
I listen to a lot of weird stuff though. Like,
I don't know, but wait. We're to handle this right now. Did you listen to Switchfoot, Scott?
well, no, I did not listen to this.
There you go. Well, there you go. That's half of the Walk to Remember track is Switchfoot.
Oh, sorry. Wait, PG's. Good night, PG. Thank you for joining, and for uh, PG always contributes to chat in a really great way. So I love.
Yeah.
Um, so here's a question from Pavi for you. Whoops,
Uh-huh.
wrong one went up. So how are the plays directed?
Oh,
Maybe not using me as the example, but in cases where you would maybe give more direction, right?
yeah.
Um,
I don't direct anybody in the readings. I literally, I mean, you know, Scott, the way you receive the script is how everybody else receives it. I send the script out right when I'm done, which is usually 15 minutes before. And then folks just go. The reason Current was a little different is because I wrote that in the beginning of the pandemic. So I think you got that script a little earlier. Thanks, Phil. My roommate's giving me a drink. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Phil.
So nice. Scott says hi.
Hey.
Seeing to it that he gets a part in the Ghostbusters sequel.
I actually think that like not getting the
I'm not going to kill you off in it. You're safe.
I actually think that there's like something interesting about not getting the play or not getting the script way ahead of time, and like just having to kind of maybe really digest it and sort of think about it on the fly. There's like an energy there that I found like pretty great, right? Like I did read Current prior to their performance, but the night of the performance is really when I, like, as it was being performed, the difference between how I read it and how it was being performed, as it was coming up to, like, I was just like, okay, I know my first line is on page 25 or something like that. Totally changed. It totally changed the way that I felt about it. So I sort of adapted on the fly, right? Like, but I found that really exciting. Like, it was not like you're going through this thing that you've rehearsed over and over and over again, and you're making sure that you deliver it the way that you've rehearsed it this, 50 or 60 times. It was very much like I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to see if I can make my voice break a little bit when I say this line or whatever. And maybe you can, maybe you can't. And, that's part of the fun.
No, that is totally part of fun. It was fun. I don't mean to say actually, I was not surprised that this was fun. Doing a scene with you, because I don't know you as well performance wise. And to see what you're kind of dealing out with that character was not stuff I necessarily expected, but I really enjoyed. I just remember that line that you had with Andy, and you kind of smirked a little bit, and you're like, and it is that line of like, I'm glad you got hurt. Like, I did write it that way, but I didn't expect the smile to come with it. And when you did it, I was like, that is awesome. And the problem is I'm the writer. Once you write it, you're just passing it off to whoever. So if this was ever done again, which I don't think it would be, but you can't make an actor do that, because that's something uniquely you that you did based on who you were in the scene with, right? You were in the scene with Andy, so that came out because you guys had that rapport left over from the Ghostbusters script.
Right. Yeah.
It was a very Walter Peck move of you to like rub Andy's face in it.
I felt instantly comfortable with him, and also obviously with you too. I felt very comfortable, right? Like it was, there are definitely like, you have some, I mean, everybody it seems there, but is like a comedy powerhouse, right? And can improv like crazy in a way that I, definitely cannot. So I was, also intimidated in a lot of those situations. But in Current, it wasn't quite the same level of intimidation because of the nature of it, and because it was like, okay, well, these are definite plot points that need to be hit in order to move forward, and people are not necessarily drinking every third line.
Well, not that you know of.
Yeah.
No. But the thing that when people get, and this is kind of me talking out of my own butt, because I get the same way, where I even doing Current, the thing that I wrote, I was very nervous about doing that with you all because of what I brought to the table. I'm because everyone calls me an organizer. I don't see myself as a performer, even though that's part of what I do. But everything that everybody brings to the table is super important. That would not have turned out the way that it did without you doing exactly what you do. And you need someone who's grounded. You need someone who's not going to deviate from the script or ham it up. That's a needed component. If it was everyone hamming it up, we would never get through it.
Right. You need your Bud Abbott. Wait. Yeah. Bud Abbott.
It used to be, the term used to be called like the straight man, but we've since changed it here in the big city to the voice of reason, because
the voice of reason, right? Because
straight man is not the voice of reason anymore, y'all.
Right. No.
They're not. Change it in your vocab.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had in tech, there's been a lot of terminology changing as well. We used to have things like whitelists and blacklists, and now we have allow lists and block lists, right? So that it's good to see that kind of change happening, because even if the intent wasn't even if the intent was wrong, the point is, if somebody gets offended by it or hurt by it, why would you keep it, right? There's another way you can say it, so say it the other way.
always another way. Yeah. It's like Thumper says in Bambi: if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
Yeah. Oh. And that lines up with your credo of and Conan's credo of being kind. So what are we going to lose you to? When are you getting famous, Leah?
People never. I don't know. I do have the cool thing. I'm just going to tell everyone in the chat, if there's anyone left, because I'm not in that window, is like, if you want to do something, do it, and do it on your terms and in your capacity. Because I stopped writing for a long time because I had one real bad teacher, like a bad teacher, who was honestly pretty abusive in his position. But we'll get to that. Never. But I stopped for a long time, and now I'm back writing, and I've been doing these things on YouTube for a month and a half. And now, because of that, I had some neat doors open for me in the new year. That are like as small as they are really to everyone that's working in this crazy industry. They're huge to me because I never thought I would get there. So just do it. Don't worry about what could not happen, and just kind of put some stuff out there. I don't know if that helps anybody, but I just wanted to say that because I wish someone said that to me in a decade.
I feel like, as horrible as the pandemic has been and will continue to be, that there are these new avenues that are opening and these new opportunities. And to some extent, it is almost like a great equalizer when it comes to giving people the opportunity to get things out there, because really all you need is a phone and an internet connection. And you could sit there and write something, or you could become a multi-millionaire on TikTok, next month, right? Like that's, there are all these avenues now that are open, and there's still obviously privilege plays a big part in it. Discipline and talent play, I want to say, arguably maybe less of a part in it, right? Because there are a lot of people who have become very famous based solely on maybe image, right? Image consciousness, this whole idea of like influencers and that kind of thing. But there's also, right, people who have been writing and like you, I have written since I was very young, and like never really had an outlet for it, and never really knew what that outlet could be, and had a lot of things that I wouldn't finish, right? And just knowing that, like, okay, I don't need anybody else to do this, right? I don't need somebody else to accept this, or somebody else to say that it's good, or somebody else to say that this is how it can be done. Here's an area where I can do it. I can just put it out on YouTube, and if people like it, people like it. If they don't, I didn't lose anything, and I got to say what I wanted to say, right? And so, I mean, I just think I think it's great. Like, I see what you've done, and I admire it, and I'm happy that you're doing it. And I hope, is that thunder?
No, I live by the
an
subway.
Elevated train. Oh, was it?
Yeah. But you can't hear it in my room so much. But I'm literally by the Wi-Fi, which is by the window in my living room. So But yeah, it's like kind of along that same vein. What stops a lot of people, for one reason or another, all valid, is that there's gatekeepers, right? But who
Right.
makes those folks gatekeepers, right? And a lot of it's financial. Other places, other times, it's just stuff in our head that like, this person is high up here and I'm down here. But then make your own gate, make your own place. Like I got so tired of it. I'm like, you know what? I'm building my own fence and gate, and here we go. And everyone come on in. So do that for yourself. Allow yourself to do that. Pandemic, no rules.
And you found like you found your group, right? Like there are people who do you. I mean, you co-write too, right? Like you and Matt have written stuff, and is that something you tend to do more on your own, or is that something that?
Yeah, I tend to write by myself. I actually, the way I drag Matt and I are duo improv partners. We're also on the Internet Disagrees together. He's also in the Armory, and he's also in Shot for Shot. So we have we have a really great friendship. And so I just text Matt at random, like, you want to write something in 7 days? And he just goes, yeah. And that was kind of it. I know Matt's writing a little bit more now, which is great. But yeah, like, I'll write with anybody. So if you want to write, let's write.
I do. So.
Oh, yeah, I heard you're taking script submissions. Like, what's the?
Oh well, yeah, that's true too. I'm always looking for material to. It's difficult to. It's just so the return on. I mean, I try not to get jaded about it, but like the return on investment when I work on something for months and months and then put it out, versus when I work on something for an hour and put it out, and the reception for the thing I worked on for an hour is better than for the thing that I worked months on. That can be discouraging sometimes, right? But I try not to let it get to me, and I try not to let it stop me from doing the other stuff, right? But yeah, I mean, you've definitely been an inspiration. Seeing what you all have done has been inspiring. So what is next? Like what's next on your
Oh
plate?
man, I don't. Oh gosh, I go day by day. But Shot for Shot's going to be its own thing. There's a lot of exciting things happening there. Hopefully someday when things open back up, we'll be touring more. There'll be more shows around the city. And then Armory, we have to wait to see what'll happen when things open up. I really don't know, so we're playing that day by day. And then writing, I'm just hoping to write more. If people come and watch it and enjoy it, I'll keep doing it. Yeah. Otherwise, more of the same.
So it would be your YouTube channel every Sunday night.
Almost,
every
yeah.
Sunday night?
Almost every Sunday. And then the next one, I'm actually taking, not this week. No, actually it is every Sunday, 3rd December. And then I'm going to be doing the Christmas holiday week on December 23rd. I'm writing a sequel to Home Alone where Kevin's an adult, and that'll be on a Tuesday, I believe. I think the 23rd is a Tuesday. Yeah, it's going to be messed up, Scott. So,
Is it going to totally ignore Home Alone 2 and
no, Home Alone 2 happened. Home Alone 3 did not happen in my
Okay.
eyes. It did not
right?
happen.
Well, yeah. Are you going to
I
have
forgot.
Donald Trump in?
No, I think Kevin can find directions by himself in this one. He gets
Did you hear
directions from-
about how he got that role?
Did he ask to be in it? That seems like something he
Yeah,
would
he
do.
said you can
Yeah.
use the plaza if I'm in it.
Are they actually coming back? Because I think Ivanka's coming back. Not to turn this political, y'all, but
Coming back. Oh, to New York, you
to
mean?
New York.
That's what
Yeah,
I've
there's
been
signs
hearing
up that say
too.
don't come back.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know where they're gonna go. It seems like they have to go to Mar-a-Lago. I don't know where else. I mean, look at this guy. How you gonna?
It's just,
How
what
can-
is he doing?
He's smiling there, and look here.
What is he looking at?
He's drinking a glass of water. He's using both hands. He's really, he's
Who
really
drinks like that? He's
concentrating.
drinking like a sloth. He's got like two
Yeah.
little. That's you know what?
It's hard. And look at the hand. The hands look like they belong to a different person.
Yeah, it looks like if you've seen Who's Line in It is in any way, it looks like they're doing helping hands or someone else.
Somebody standing behind him.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go political there. Sorry.
It's weird that you had those images on standby. That was real quick. You had those
Well,
ready to-
yeah, I do, I do talk about him a lot. I'm glad he's going to be gone, obviously. But then now who am I going to talk about?
Everybody.
Yeah,
Stay
I
on
mean,
your politicians and your reps, y'all. Stay on them.
yeah. Yeah. Ah, well, Leah, I'm sorry that we had technical issues at the beginning, but thank you so much for coming on. I don't know if anybody has any questions for Leah they want to ask before, or maybe I missed them. Some, sorry.
I would be shocked if so.
Um, oh, Pavi is predicting next April is when you're gonna get cast
Oh,
in.
that's so nice. Oh yeah, the other. That's what. See, so that's where my anxiety gets in the way because I knew they were talking about the character, but I'm like, they want to hit me with an oven mitt, and then I realized they meant the character. I'm like, that's fair. I would too.
I don't understand. Why did people want to hit you with an oven mitt?
I guess because I did a great job, Scott. I
Yeah,
don't know.
but your
I think
character was not like if anyone should get hit with an oven mitt, it was
Josh,
uh,
right? Yeah.
I forget his name. I'm sorry, but he's really funny. He's he's
Yeah,
got Nick.
Nick's
Yes,
character. Yeah,
yeah,
and Nick's so great at playing those. But I think the thing with Nick is he's such a great performer. He's such a likable guy, and this is why I cast him in these roles that you still like him. Like no one. I have this thing where in my head when I'm writing or acting, I'm like no one who's the bad guy thinks they're the bad guy in their own
right.
story, right? So in Josh's mind, he's a good guy. In David's mind, he's a good guy. Like, so I get why they would. I think the reason they wanted to hit her with an oven mitt is because Andy Fitch is just a dreamy guy with great eyebrows, which your audience has pointed out to me, and now I can't look away from his eyebrows. That they were mad that she just was not picking up on the signals. But I don't
It's
know.
interesting that you say that because I remember was some podcast with Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant when they were talking about
I
how they
love him.
cast The Office, right? And they
Yeah.
purposefully, when they cast Tim, and they cast, oh my God, not Dwight, the guy, Pirates of the Caribbean guy. He wasn't called
Bill
Dwight.
Nighy? Bill Nighy? Not Bill Nighy.
No, he's a really skinny, the Dwight character in the UK version of The Office. I forget what his name was in the UK version of The Office, but he was originally supposed to be like this big kind of jock guy, but then they figured out that if they cast somebody kind of thin and bird-like and kind of reedy, who you would feel this kind of ambivalence because you would also feel sympathy for them, and they could get away with a lot more and still be sympathetic. Whereas if they just picked sort of a generic, sort of stereotypical jock, then he would be easy to just kind of write off and be like, yeah, hate that guy, don't like him at all. But so it's interesting that you say that because that's kind of similar to what you were talking about with Josh, is it? Josh?
Well, yeah, with Josh, but that's also why Steve Carell in The Office worked. He
Right.
did a bunch of terrible stuff, but he's so
Yes.
likable that you're like, okay, yeah, I'm behind this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why Ed Helms is always hated. Like I'm sorry, I have a thing.
Yeah, we got some stories. I'll tell you later. We'll spill the tea, as the kids say.
Well, thank you so much, Lee. I really appreciate this. And Lexi keeps asking if you could drop your skincare routine.
Oh, that's so nice. Oh my God. I love it. I'm never leaving. I don't do anything.
People are gonna hate now. People are gonna want to
I
hit you
know,
with an oven
no,
mitt.
but I didn't wear makeup until I was 24. Except when I was in a show, then I would have to. But that's it. I promise that usually it's not this good. I think I'm in a dark room and it looks better than it does. That's so nice.
And then Q is asking what? Oh yeah, that machine. The machine.
Oh,
did you have that figured out, or was that just?
No, it was. It's just the Andy's mic kept breaking up, so everyone missed that last monologue. It measured the electric current. Like the machine in Twister. Does anyone watch Twister nonstop like I do? Because I do. And it just measures the electric volts, and then would be able to predict like what's going to happen next. Is that whole thing? I kind of took that whole plot. That's really it. It was not very. If you were focused, the whole thing is if you're focusing on the machine's probably the thing I put the least amount of work into because the monologues that Chris says, even though they're all science and technical terms, she's actually talking about what's currently happening in the storyline or what's about to happen. So you kind of
Right.
got to go back and read in between the lines.
Yeah, it's like right. I definitely got that. It was sort of like
Yeah.
this is almost like direction, but told through the lens of like technical stuff that I don't necessarily know if it was actually accurate or not. Right.
Who knows? I've made
Who
it up.
cares? Right. That's
Wikipedia is great, guys.
oh, so Lexi's saying Mackenzie Crook. Yeah, Mackenzie Crook. But what was his name? That's what I'm. It was because it wasn't Dwight. Yeah, it was something else. It was I don't know. It's just like Jim was Tim in the UK. Dwight in the UK office. Dwight was. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. But yeah, Mackenzie Crook, who looks like a bird. Looks kind of like a very.
It's funny you brought up Stephen Merchant because that was like one of my first crushes as a child because I was a weird child. I love Stephen Merchant.
Wait a minute. But
As a child, I mean like a very young teen.
okay, because I was going to say, well, I didn't want to make any assumptions about your age or anything like that, right? So I didn't want to.
Yeah, let's play guess. Let's play guess how old I am. Let's not do.
What is the safe? I don't even know what the safe guess is.
I
there.
appreciate the part of it that came out. I appreciate that.
the tour.
To
Wait, hold on a second. I feel like I have to.
look it up.
I have to look this up. Gareth. That's right. Gareth
What
Keenan.
oh, it just sounds like a bad guy name.
Yeah.
It's like Chad. You always know when there's a Chad. They're not, even if they're the nicest, there's something up.
It's hard to be a Chad. Yeah.
So hard.
Oh, and right, yeah, the Goblin King from Labyrinth was Jared. But this is Gareth with a G, with a G, I think. Yeah. But anyway, okay, so people should go to Leah Evans on YouTube. That's your channel name is Leah Evans. I can't at you yet, I think. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, they can also reach out to me on Twitter. I think you shared it. But if they have like suggestions of what they want me to do next, I do listen to those. Even I take shot for shot suggestions too. And they can just hop on there. I'm pretty responsive because there's nothing else going on.
And I think you're Leah Evans 88 on Twitter. Is that right?
Oh God, who am I on there? Yes, you're correct. That's well now I give that's the year of my birth.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're 46. Wait.
Yeah, yeah. 100%. That's it. Yeah.
You're 32 or possibly 33.
32. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to think about it for a second. I was like, yeah, that's right.
Well,
It's like the birthdays this year didn't happen.
when you get to my age, you genuinely are like, wait a minute, I'm almost positive that I'm this age, but I'm not 100% sure.
I just
Yeah,
assume
we had a Chad. That's right. We had a Chad who actually named this podcast or this whatever the hell this thing is.
the one good dad.
Yeah, he was always. Well, no, he wasn't that good.
Oh, he wasn't good.
Yeah, he was sort of a bit of a troll, but a very funny troll. And
Typical dad.
was inspirational, and he was very good at yelling at me for missing things when I was playing Last of Us 2.
Are we saying it was because something happened to him, or was he just banned?
He just stopped showing up. Nobody has seen him for a while. If anybody knows where Chad is, I would love to know. Like this was his. It was fun while it lasted. That was his final quote, and then he was gone.
I wonder what a script about this Chad. This guy.
All right, I'm glad that we were able to get this working, and thank you for coming on the show. And yeah, I'm always down to do anything if you ever need somebody who does not improv and will just read the lines like this.
Well, I'm 100% in. I was going to ask about this week, and then I realized I don't have a role this week, but I'll figure it out. I'll reach out. And everyone, yeah, come play.
Cool. Thank you so much, Leah.
Hi.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. That was great. I enjoyed that very much. I hope you all did too. And yeah, if you haven't checked out her channel and the stuff that she does, please do. Yeah, you just have to search Leah Evans. Or I think on my channel I have it maybe linked, but it doesn't let you at someone until they're at a certain number of subscribers, which is stupid. But so for some reason I can't at her. But yeah, she's great, super talented. Really glad that she came on. And my voice is going, so I think I'm actually going to wrap up for the evening. I wanted to talk to more people. I want to get back to just kind of like winging it and talking to you all. And I promise that we will get back to that next week. And, occasionally have other people that drop by. But really, I enjoy both parts of it. I enjoy having people on that are like, oh, this is somebody I admire and I want to talk to. And then I enjoy discovering people that I don't know, and learning all of these wonderful things that I've learned doing these over the past 16 episodes. We've done 16 of these, and not one of them has been under 2 hours long. And I think generally they average around 2.5 to 3 hours long. So, that's 48, almost 50 hours probably of this so far. So going to keep it going. And yeah, Mike, let's do this too. I don't want to alienate people too much who aren't into Elder Scrolls, but we can certainly, as long as we time box it, right? I feel like we can definitely do that. But yeah, I will see you all again soon, and I hope you all have a good night. And thanks again to Leah, and thanks to Mike and Lady Nerevar for helping, and thanks to everybody who helped Leah get up and running as well. And I will talk to you all again soon.